Now I request one of our student, Mukesh, to introduce Kuvar Akash Singh. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Kuvar Akash Singh, sir, to get on the dais and share his experiences. He was a little brief introduction of his. He was born in 1992 in Uttar Pradesh near Sultanpur, where he had done his schooling. He was a plus 2 topper in his region and a All India second in plus 2. After his post-graduation in IIT Kharagpur, he has worked in Flipkart for 3 years. Then after, his passion drove him into the service for preparing to get into the service of civil service examinations. After 5 long attempts, he has got into the services with his consistent efforts and hard work. It is no less to say that it has took a lot of courage and energies to travel this long. And I think he has got many stories to share with us of his experiences and thoughts and strategies with us. So without waiting, I would like to welcome sir into the dais and share his experiences.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, ma'am, for having me. Good to be on this side of the dais once in a while. Because I remember when I started preparing for this UPSC examination, and I used to actually attend the topper's talk. I used to also be sitting there, and I used to wonder, these guys must have been really genius to actually have cracked this exam. But now that I'm here, I think the process has made me more humble, and I think I can tell you all very frankly that it's mostly hard work. So each and every one of you, you have the ability in you. You have decided to appear for this examination, and I think that itself shows that you have faith in yourself. You obviously are taking a lot of big risk, but I think with big risk comes big reward. And I think if you have that kind of passion within you, you will succeed. So I think you have already seen the introduction, and so my journey is not so very rosy kind of thing. So it took me 5 long attempts to clear this examination, 3 serious attempts. So I'll just give a brief introduction of myself, because I think what the other people did was very formal kind of thing. So yes, 10th and 12th was from a very small city, Sultanpur in Uttar Pradesh, not much facilities there, so just graduated from there. Thereafter I cleared the IIT entrance examination, got into IIT Kharagpur, metallurgy. 2014 I did. I was the department topper there as well, so got silver medal there. Then through the campus placement itself, I got into Flipkart. So even during college, I had this in my mind that yes, I'll have to do UPSC somewhere down the line. But then because I got through the placement itself, so I thought, okay, let's do job for a while. Just look into what the private sector has. And then once you start getting into the job and you start receiving salary, then it becomes a very different experience. So, living in Bangalore and then having good salary and enjoying life. So 1 year I just completely stopped studying, did not open any book, just enjoyed life for 1 year after graduation. Then finally, after some amount of time, you get the feeling that yes, money is not something which can drive your whole life. The passion within you and what you think is right for you, that you have to figure it out. And then I said, okay, let's start preparing for UPSC. So I gave 2 attempts with job, but then it was not a very focused attempt, I would say. It was more or less, I just wrote the exam without much of the preparation, and therefore the result was that I could not clear prelims, even though it was just by 1 or 2 marks. But then I could not clear prelims, and then again I appeared for the second attempt also, and then also I could not appear. So then I thought, let's not keep my legs into 2 boats, because ultimately it will lead to a fall. Let's leave the job and try to give it 1 attempt. So my plan was that I'll just take sabbatical from the job, and I'll just give 1 full attempt with full-fledged preparation. And if I get into the service, it's okay. If I won't, then I will rejoin the service. So I just took sabbatical from Flipkart, and I did not resign. So then I started preparing, and when I wholeheartedly started preparing, I just started loving the entire preparation phase, because I had to learn so much, and then reading every day new things. I think I just fell in love with the process of preparation. So when my sabbatical got over after 6 months, and the HR called me that whether I would be joining back or not, I said, no, I won't be joining back. I said, I'll see what the future holds for me. And then I gave my attempt in 2018. That was my third attempt. Fortunately, I got into prelims, cleared mains as well, and then I reached the interview stage. And when I reached the interview stage, I thought, ab to ho jayega, like I'll clear the exam. But then unfortunately, things did not materialize. And then again missed the final result by I think 10 marks or something. Then I thought, ki chalo itne pass to aayenge. I've come this close. I just need 10 more marks in the next attempt. But the thing with UPSC is that every attempt is a fresh attempt. You just can't say that if you have cleared or if you have just scored 100 this time in prelims, there is no guarantee that you will score even 90 in the next attempt. But then I did not know it at that time. So I thought, ki, chalo, there only 10 marks are left. I'll just do that hard work in mains in the next attempt and I'll do it. So then again I started preparation again. And in 2019 again, the same thing happened. I cleared prelims, cleared mains again, then reached the interview, and I was so confident that this time though I'll be getting into the list. But unfortunately UPSC is very heartless in that sense. And that attempt also I could not clear the same, I think 13 or 14 marks. I lost majorly on mains that year. Then for this 2020 attempt, it was very difficult for me because I thought whether should I go back to the private sector or whether should I continue with the job. But then we had this pandemic and I thought getting a job in these times would be very difficult. So what to do? Let's just give one more attempt. Let's see what the future holds for me again. And it was very difficult to actually start again, especially this year after facing 2 interviews and still not getting a job. It was actually very, very difficult physically as well as mentally for me. But okay, I thought let's see what again can happen, and I just gave prelims, and I thought कि शायद prelims में ही ना हो, because I had spent most of the time after the result crying. So I got very less time to prepare for prelims, but then fortunately I got good score in prelims. So when prelims result came, and I thought, okay, it's a third mains, probably I'll do better this time, and I tried to figure it out what was wrong in my previous attempts. So then I just jotted down what all things I can do. I just also referred to many of the toppers' videos, and I thought, okay, I'll just start making my own notes. And this time what I did was to actually improve upon those kinds of mistakes. And fortunately I got good marks in mains, and the interview also was smooth, and I think fortunately I got a good rank this year. So that was the process, the entire process journey. As far as the preparation strategies are concerned, for the prelims exam, I would say reading, balancing both static as well as current affairs, that is very much required. A lot of students, I think, they focus more on the current affairs, but without having fundamentals in your static, you cannot clear prelims. And with static, especially questions like polity, even if one of the single questions that you are doing wrong in polity or in history, then your chances of selection in the prelims goes down a lot. So make sure that each and every question which is there in, which is coming from, let's say, Lakshmikant, that question has to be correct. And you cannot afford to even do mistakes in those kinds of questions, especially the easy question. There's a lot of myth among the students that there are a lot of difficult questions in prelims. But let me tell you that even if you don't solve those difficult questions, that won't affect your selection. What will affect your selection in the prelims is that what kind of mistakes you're doing in the easy questions. And those 35 to 40 easy questions will determine whether you will be getting a mains call or not. So make sure that you focus both on current affairs and static. I would say focus more on static, because current affairs is something which is very easy nowadays. It's coming in prelims. It's not very difficult current affairs are coming, or not very obscure current affairs are not coming into the prelims. So if you've done whatever the basic current affairs material that the coaching is providing you, I think that's more than enough. What I would want from the aspirants is that focus more onto the static aspects like history, like polity, like geography. Focus on those areas. Give a lot of tests. I think that is one of the important aspects, because the learnings you may do, but what on the basis of those learnings, whether you are whether you are able to implement those learnings or not, that is something that can come through the test itself. So give the test, figure out what is the wrong thing that you are doing in those tests. That is very important. The analysis of the test is very important. That if you are able to clear, is it a factual error that you are doing? Is it something that you are not able to eliminate the options, or you are not able to, or you have some wrong information within you? I think if you work on those things, the prelims you'll be clearing prelims with ease. So that is up to the prelims part. Coming for the mains perspective, each and every mains paper, you should know the syllabus, because syllabus is very important. I remember first time when I was attempting my essay, I took 3 days to write my first essay. So it will take time, but make sure that you are practicing a lot of answer writing. Make sure you are making notes on each and every topic of the mains, especially given the GS2 and GS3 paper this year. You see there are a lot of small topics given in GS2 and GS3 papers. Make sure that you have ready-made notes with you available, both from current affairs as well as static portion of it, so that even if small questions are asked from those small topics of GS2 and GS3, you are able to tackle those questions. Like for example, Representation of People's Act. Not many people read those acts, but then last year there was a question on that topic. So make sure that you read the syllabus, you've understood that these are the topics which are present, and you have some amount of material available with you at the back of your mind, that you can attempt the mains examination if questions are asked from those kinds of paper. So especially this is true for GS2 and GS3, because most of the people, they only read current affairs when it comes to GS2 and GS3. But I think given the things now, more static portion are also asked from GS2 and GS3. As far as ethics is concerned, there's no fixed strategy for ethics. You just have to figure it out on yourself, because each and every person, they write their own answers for ethics and the case study solving. I would say is attempt a lot of test series for ethics. The more you write and the more you get evaluated by the teachers, I think that will provide you a better insight on where you are making mistake. And of course, time management in mains, that is also very important, because you get just 3 hours writing and the paper is becoming lengthy every year. So if you write more number of tests, you get to know what is your writing speed and where you can improve upon in that areas. That is for prelims. For mains. As far as the optionals are concerned, I chose anthropology because at that time I felt that this was the subject with the shortest syllabus, and frankly I think that is true. And with ma'am's guidance, I think I was fortunate enough that every year I took ma'am's test series only, because I felt whenever I solved ma'am's question paper, I knew that I have reached to that UPSC level question answers, because ma'am's test series is such that the questions which are asked are even higher level to what UPSC asks. I still remember 2019 while I attempted, there was a question on Iron Age. Not many coaching institutes give Iron Age, they teach Iron Age. But ma'am's test series had Iron Age as well as the case studies of R.K. Tiwari. I still remember it. Ma'am very specifically teaches the Iron Age. Or for example, this year, Jane Goodall wala question came into the paper. I can assure you not many coaching institutes actually provide or even mention Jane Goodall in their classes, but I think if you have attended ma'am's class, you will be able to tackle those questions. So for anthropology, make sure that you have read the syllabus, you've covered each and every topic of the syllabus, you have sufficient data and case studies, especially for the paper 2, because paper 2 is such that it appears very easy. When you look at the questions for paper 2, it appears as if it's a very general studies kind of paper. But if you write those GS kind of knowledge answers in your paper, you won't be getting marks. So what I would suggest is draw inferences from a lot of authors, make your answer more anthropological, such that you will be able to get more marks in your paper 2. And for the interviews, I think one of the things that I wanted to mention was that a lot of people feel very intimidated by the interviews, that you do not have that kind of background. My graduation score is not very well, or I have not a lot of hobbies. But I would like to assure you that the board is not interested in those kinds of things, whatever you have done in the past. The board is only interested into what you are at present. So even if you do not have that kind of a background or a very flashy biodata or DAF, don't be intimidated by them. They'll ask you questions about what you have done, maybe from your schools or colleges or your cities or the current affairs. So don't get intimidated that you don't have that kind of a very flashy background. That does not matter. What matters is how you're able to present yourself. Another thing is that the fluency. A lot of people think that they're not very fluent in English and therefore they'll be losing marks in the interview. You're not there to become a politician. You're not there to actually give us speeches, and the board also knows that. You are there to become a civil servant. You are there to work in the background of the politician, so you don't have to give a lot of lectures things. So fluency of English is not required as long as you are articulate enough to actually tell yourself that, or you can convey your thoughts, and that is what is required by the board members as well. So I think that is for the interview stage. I think rest I can tackle, or any questions I can take later. This is what I would like to say to you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable journey. It was really inspirational. Most of us have a doubt about balancing job and preparation. Your talk must have cleared most of our doubts. Thank you very much.